All right. Hey, everybody. Man, I can hear myself again. Why can't I hear myself? I should not be able to hear me. Dooba-dooba-doo. If I turn this off, nope, I can still hear myself. Dang it, it's happening again. I solved this problem, and I'm having it again. Hey, it's a great thing for me to stream this publicly in front of a bunch of people when I am having a tech issue where I can hear myself. I know you really don't care that I'm hearing myself, but it's really bothering me that I can hear myself. And so now I'm going through like audio meter, trying to figure out why I can hear myself. Because I want to be able to hear what's happening, but I guess for some reason it's giving me the audio back where I can hear myself. I don't want to hear myself. Let me check into preferences. I know you don't care. Actually, you may care. This is Ecamm Live. We're going to pretend. Do this together. All right, so echo canceling for external speakers. No, I don't have to worry about that. Broadcast system audio, yes. Automatically mute microphone and Quest audio during video playback, yes. Fine. Mute movie sound on speakers, no. System output and mix mode, no. Wow, I really thought it was right there. Interview, audio, answer guest, no, I didn't do that. Guest view is broadcast, that was a problem, we did fix that. Why can I hear my mic? I don't want to hear my mic. Map channel 1 and 2 to left to right stereo. Okay, I guess that matters. Automatically mute microphone and Quest audio during playback. Mic delay, no. Man! I'm tempted to just take out my ears and just talk because I don't know why this is having a problem. Video, destination recording, stream. Maybe it's on the stream? No. Account. All right, we're going to have to figure this out. Not today, though, because I want to do a stream. I want to actually talk about something that's not my tech issues. All right, ears are coming up. I'm not actually sure what that's going to do. Maybe I should just mute. All right, so I'm just going to mute and keep it in because I don't want my speakers coming on. So I have the luxury of having the ears in, but I'm not actually hearing anything in them. I know you care. Hey, everybody, welcome to my stream here at the Church Digital Podcast, where I've looked like an idiot for the past 5 minutes. What time is it? Only 3 minutes. I've only looked like an idiot for 3 minutes, kind of talking through some tech issues that I've got here in my head. It's not a common fact. I'm actually 40% deaf in my right ear. Blame audio mixing and, being young and stupid and mixing audio concerts at 105, 107 dB. But I hear in my head all day long. And so like when more stuff gets in my head, it gets complicated and audio delays and stuff like that and hearing myself. You know, you guys are listening to a nice beat. You're jamming out, kind of listening to some of this music, and I'm all about that. I love that. I wanted to get into the vibe myself and get the feel of it, and for some reason I just have the wrong button or some setting somewhere clicked, and it's not happening. So I can hear the music, but then I was hearing myself, and I don't want to hear myself. I barely want you to hear me. If somebody wants my job and wants to like talk in this microphone and talk publicly, I think that's a great idea. We should lean into that idea about you all picking up and becoming the voice of the Church Digital, the movement that is now the Church Digital. Well, hey, let me get into this. First and foremost, right up here at the top, I want to thank you all. My gosh, what a crazy week it was last week. We did the Giving Tuesday on December 3rd, Tuesday, December 3rd. Mere 7 days ago, I did a stream for 12 hours, 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. all the way through. And what an incredible day, really just creating an opportunity to have 35 some people were interviewed in the course of the show, and just engaging, telling their story. We interviewed digital missionaries, digital pastors, digital church planters. We interviewed supporters and partners that have been supporting us with the Church Digital. We interviewed my parents. Like, if you want to go and really do a deep dive, oh my gosh, like mom and dad. I think that's the first time my dad's actually been on a stream or been on video for anything related to the Church Digital. Like, that's a rare sighting right there, and it really was a great show. And so we will have that information, those videos. I know a lot of our team has been, a lot of the guests were, hey, when's that going to be online? When we do there? And so we're gonna be getting that online at thechurch.digital/give, and it's coming to our YouTube page real quick. But thechurch.digital/give. Let me see if the team's got it up yet. I meant to check that beforehand. Part of it is. And so the church.digital/give has, I think that's the first chunk, or no, that's the second chunk of the embed. Yeah, it's all the way through. The second half, the last 4 hours, is currently on at the church.digital/give. But we will have more coming soon. The church.digital/give. And I think we're going to have them at the individual, at our YouTube page as well. My mom, I love her. My mom says to me, she says, Jeff, my Bible study wants to watch the video. When can you have it on YouTube? And so she doesn't sound like that. Jeff. Actually, maybe she does sound a little bit like that. So yeah, we'll have it up. And so look at that for at the church.digital/YouTube. But we raised $13,590. And I mean, and we're thankful. We had a goal of $20,000. And honestly, like, we were really just pie in the sky. What are we looking for? We're looking for 10,000, 15, 20. And so we aimed for 20, but 13,590 was a big step in the right direction. And so thank you for giving and supporting the vision and the mission of the Church Digital. We will be doing, we're going to do it again. Like, you know, I'm wrestling with, and we're already talking to the team about doing Giving Tuesday every Giving Tuesday, like doing a 12-hour stream or even more. You know, as I look at the future of the Church Digital, I'd love to get more global representation and give some of our outpost leaders in Europe and Africa and Asia Pacific and Oceania and South America, and I'm missing a couple, Middle East, Southeast Asia. Give some of these guys and gals an opportunity to share their stories and to highlight what's happening within their ministries. And so part of me is even wrestling with the idea of doing a 24-hour live stream. I'm kind of, you know, stupid that way. It's like always pushing for more. And so a 12-hour wasn't good enough, but so 24, maybe a 25, maybe a 25-hour stream in 2025. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But thank you for those of you that gave. Thank you for giving. That is going to open up and enable several projects for us to get started in 2025 and beyond. And so we're breathing now for the first time in a while financially, and so that's awesome. There is, you know, it's interesting. We actually had several people reach out to me off the stream, saying that timing was bad and they wanted to give later. And, you know, of course, that's open at any time. The church.digital/partner, where there's a give link on the Church Digital website underneath the hamburger to do that. And we're gearing up for an end of the year giving campaign. A lot of people and organizations like to do giving tied to you know, the end of the year and tax issues, seasons, especially here in America. We would love to partner with that. So if you're trying to figure out your holiday finances and things like that, and it just wasn't a good time with Giving Tuesday, consider giving still to the organizations, get closer to the end of the year. And I would love to have a conversation with you on that. And so if you've got questions on what giving looks like and supporting and partnering with the Church Digital, I would invite you to do that. You can reach out to me directly on Discord or on WhatsApp. Great ways to do that. And I've got open offices all the time. You all are more than welcome to jump into and dive into that. You know, it's funny. I'm talking here, and I've got computer monitors all over the place. And I just installed a couple iPads underneath to doing a couple things on the screen. And I'm noticing one of them thinks I said, "Hey Siri." And it's like got the little "Hey Siri" ball like moving on and on and on. And now that I've said here, "Hey Siri" a couple times, I've got two iPads that are doing that. Just a reminder for those of you that do streaming or anything in technological, if you're utilizing phones or iPads, turn the "Hey Siri" functionality off, because it just doesn't work. Like it's too sensitive. Like right now, "Hey Siri" number 2 is saying, "I can help you with that if you turn on precise location for Siri." I'm just don't. There's like nothing I need you to do at that moment. So just a reminder. But we are thankful for it. You know, we had huge gifts. We had mediums, gifts of all varying sizes. One of the gifts, and I said this at the conclusion of the stream, one of the gifts that I think impacted me the most was a guy who, doesn't have the money that he gave, but is giving $20 a month to the church. Maybe it was 15. I think it was $15 a month to the Church Digital. Like, at some level, it's the widow's mite. It's the little bit they can give. They're giving to support the movement of the Church Digital, and so I call that an owner of the vision. Yes, it's less financially than what some of the others gave, but he's giving regularly to that and contributing regularly to what we're doing here with the Church Digital, with digital mission work. And so I would invite you, maybe consider giving regularly to the Church Digital and helping with that. And so, to all gifts. Actually, I was excited. We activated Apple Pay on the site right before Giving Tuesday. And so the theChurch.digital/partner. I think you can go through that on that page, theChurch.digital/partner. You can set up a recurring, a monthly gift, as well as, a one-time donation on that. Nothing like some cold coffee at, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Hey, I got my EDM class, Equipping Digital Missionaries course, coming up. I teach one of the Americas course, and I'll be starting up an Oceania one. We'll get into that later. Oceania later this year, actually early 25. And so excited. Actually, let's talk about that. EDM, Equipping Digital Missionaries course. We did a soft launch, a quiet launch that we weren't going to talk about publicly. And then, 70 people showed up for this thing. And so that's where we are. We're teaching it, 4 or 5 times globally, a couple in the US, Africa, Asia, Southeast Asia, and Europe. And so it's doing 5. Ramping up and looking to start one in Oceania in January. I have a meeting tomorrow about doing one in South America in January. And so meeting with a potential partner in South America, a couple actually this week. And so we're really, really excited about what the road ahead holds for the Church Digital. But we're going to open this up. And so the theChurch.digital/EDM, theChurch.digital/EDM, we're going to be starting cohorts in the next round of cohorts in January 25. So if you're interested, jump into that, theChurch.digital/EDM, and sign up for one of these next cohorts. Remember, Equipping Digital Missionaries, we are helping equip people that are interested in being a digital missionary. It's for us with the Church Digital, it's really the onboarding. It's the front part. It's the beginning of the Church Digital process. We want to connect with people, invite them into a community, but really the family, where you really get into the network and access to the partners. That's what we work on with equipping, with our Equipping Digital Missionary course. As a matter of fact, the Church Digital now, we're starting to develop more strategies centered around how we're providing care and support for our members. What does it look like to care for our community at a spiritual direction level, at a soul care level, at a mental health level, at a physical and emotional level, as we're looking at developing these networks of missionaries globally? How can we, the Church Digital, provide resources to help people globally be digital missionaries? What are their needs? What are their emotional, physical, spiritual? What are the tangible needs they're running into? What are the metaphysical needs they're running into? What are the challenges that they're facing by doing ministry in addictive spaces, and how can we equip them to stay strong in that space, not to run away from the addictive areas in fear of protecting ourselves, but how to put on the armor of God and shore up ourselves as we are running into the building that's on fire for hope of rescuing those that we can. Pardon the analogy. But that's really what we're getting into now with the church digital. It's not only how do we equip these people to be digital missionaries, but as we're equipping them and after we're equipping them, what does it look like to resource them ongoing? How can we help others? How do we multiply this out? How do we help others care for others? That's a fun conversation. We've been digging into Leighton. Flatcap's been involved in a lot of that as of late. There's been some others in that. Stacy has been talking with that. Always fun. Had a conversation with Stacy for about an hour and a half this morning, getting into detail on some of this, and excited. Obviously excited about that. It was funny. I told Stacy, a lot of Stacy Knapp. She is. We talk about the Stacy Knapp dilemma, where she was, always hanging around the community and always a part. But, when we were doing like the digital planting through the church digital, she didn't really fit what our model was. When we were doing the movement system, she just really didn't fit the model. When we shifted now to digital missionaries, she just really didn't fit in. But now as we're starting to get into the care aspects of this, and how she's wired, I told Stacy today, I was like, you are uniquely created, especially with your digital bias. You are uniquely created to help us solve this problem right here. And so she smiled, and she gets it. Like, I definitely see her contributing into the aspects here with it. But we're excited about the idea of not only providing more opportunities to equip digital missionaries at a global level, but we're also excited about caring for these individuals, these missionaries, long term. It was interesting. One of the conversations of the 30-some that stood out for me. I mean, there was the time that Dr. John interviewed Ann Bosarge and I stepped off mic. That was kind of cool. There was, a lot of the feedback that we picked up from Anesh, some of the stuff that he's doing with data and research, and the time that we got Ezekiel and to share his story with Jay Cranda and some of the stuff that Jay Cranda's always talked about doing, and how a medium-sized church in a struggling area of Miami Beach, a hard place for churches to plant, is having success physically and digitally. There were a lot of powerful stories I think came out of it, but probably the most impactful for me, Susie was also incredible, but the most impactful for me was Pastor Coco. Here's a woman, and she's with VR MMO Church, DJ Soto's church, and she is the Final Fantasy pastor. So she literally does church in Final Fantasy. Her and I think one other volunteer, Elaine. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking her name. It starts with A. But the two of them do church in Final Fantasy. And that's a really powerful statement. They do church inside a video game. Millions of people are active users in Final Fantasy, and the two of them are digital missionaries in this platform that reaches millions of people. Now, what's interesting with these two specifically is, to my knowledge, I don't know anybody else. There's no other organized movement that I know of inside of the Final Fantasy video game. And so the two of them are actively being the church inside Final Fantasy. To quantify that even more, okay, let's put a different spin on it. You're going to go be a missionary in, I don't know, New York City. New York City's got, millions that live in the surrounding areas, in the boroughs. But you and your friend are the only two missionaries in the lostness of millions. What's the emotional wear and tear of somebody in that space? How do they need support? How do they need care? How do they need encouragement? How do they need resourcing? How do you send a mission team to come along and work alongside them? Like, this is some of the stuff that I want to wrestle with the Church Digital. It was really interesting. So I attend a small, medium-sized physical church, and this Sunday, one of our partner churches we're in South Florida. One of our partner churches that's supporting us financially from Northern Florida sent along a mission team, and there were, 15 college kids, high school kids showed up for the weekend. They canvassed the community. They helped run a volunteer event. They showed up Sunday morning to support the church. Like, there was encouragement that came because this partners church that's supporting us financially also provided manpower for us in that. And it's always a shot in the arm as you're volunteering and out in the mission field of your physical city to have, hey, here's some people that are coming alongside you. What does that look like for Final Fantasy? How can we come alongside ministry that's happening in Final Fantasy, or virtual reality, or Facebook, or Twitch, or any video game, or TikTok? How can we come alongside? I mean, pulpit care? Yeah, I mean, I think that's a valid opportunity. Hey, you know what? If I'm spending 10 hours a week, if I'm a church planner, and you're spending the majority of your time prepping your sermon instead of engaging with the community, it's a mistake. Let's figure out how to get somebody to come in here to preach the sermon and get you to build more relationships, because especially in cold spaces, it's not about a sermon or a lecture, it's about relationships and community. And so cold to Christ space is what I meant when I said that. And so, like, that's some of the opportunities that are in front of us, is to start to engage differently in that. There are some other opportunities maybe. What are some other resources or things that might be necessary for you that can be complemented? This is what we're the Church Digital starting to wrestle with. Not only how can we care for you emotionally, physically, spiritually as a missionary, how can we connect resources to you, pulpit care, design, community development. What services can we provide that can help you in your ministry grow? And whether that's stuff that we do or friends of friends, or have you met my friend Ted? It's a throwback to How I Met Your Mother. Have you met my friend Ted? Barney would always say. But really, that's the heart of it. How can we as a network get you connected with people? Now, some of you are watching this in the community saying, that's great. How do I get involved with that? Well, we want you to go through EDM, because EDM is where we get to know you. We get you on the inside, really get you deep in the network. EDM is the gateway. It is the front door to all the funness that is the Church Digital and our network. And so step up and get into EDM. theChurch.digital/EDM will get you more information on that. theChurch.digital/EDM. We're looking for more outpost leaders. We ramped up and we did a lot of... No, what are outposts? Outposts are regional networks. Like, we're launching, Simon, we talked about this a lot. Simon is leading our European digital network. Simon lives in Germany and runs a digital church network. He works for a missions agency, and he loves what we're doing digitally. In fact, he's one of our partners where he supports the Church Digital financially. He's one of our contributors to the Church Digital monthly. And so, but what we're doing is we're feeding him people through EDM. For example, he's leading EDM right now, and he's got, people from 10 countries, like the 9 or 8 or 9, 10 countries. I know Czech is one of them. I know France, Spain, Germany, Austria. Like there's a number. Europe is a continent, dummy. Sorry, I was just channeling my dad when I said that. England is what I'm trying to say, the E one. Like there's a lot of different nationalities that go beyond German. And so, Simon's doing all of Europe, but as we build out and expand more, we want to get smaller range with the networks and create more of these. And so there's an opportunity really for Simon to narrow his focus maybe on Western Europe, and we need somebody more on Eastern Europe to dig into that, or like similar to what we did with Africa. At one point, Utope was over all of Africa and trying to resource that. It got too big, but B, we started looking, and really, Northern Africa is completely different than Southern Africa, and it made sense to fine tune. A lot of the stuff that we're doing with Ebi, one of the guys that we're talking to about heading up Southeast Asia, India, is the broad scope of that. Man, that's huge. Like there's an opportunity to go really big in that. There's 2,000 different dialects, and we need somebody that can help us oversee and understand all of India. But then there's opportunities to create more regional pockets within that. And we're having a similar conversation right now as we're looking at launching into Oceania, because we've got a lot of contacts, but Oceania is really New Zealand and Australia and some of the Asia Pacific islands, but Singapore typically is not considered part of that. But we've got a lot of interest in Singapore, and so we may need to broaden, Oceania Plus, broaden that to try to get some people in to build up consistency and then break it up. So really, we're looking for leaders. We're looking for leaders of people that could be multiplication minded, that are interested in equipping digital missionaries globally, that are interested in buying into the mission and vision of creating networks of digital missionaries and helping be a support to them, at a ongoing regional level. So those are our places, outposts. It's funny, my daughter, she's 16, Caitlin, she asked me the other day, she said, "Daddy," I was driving her to dance, and so we were in the Jeep. That's when we have our daddy-daughter conversations, is when I'm taking her places. She's old enough for a driver's license, but she hasn't gotten it yet. It's a whole other conversation. But my daughter says to me, "Daddy, what's going on with EDM?" And I tell her, "Oh, Caitlin, I'm so excited." And I rattle off the 6 or 7 outposts that we have. And the physical outposts is our places outposts. And she's like, "Daddy, that's so exciting." She says, "But Daddy, I don't understand. You talk about platform as places, but your outposts are places. Why don't you have your outposts in platforms?" And I was like, "Well, Caitlin, sweetie, we talked about that with our leadership, and yeah, we want to get to the place of platforms, but it's a very controversial idea. Like a lot of missions agencies, they kind of roll their eyes. They're not ready to buy into that. And so it's really hard to get traction on the idea of platforms, of really, really looking at the cultural adaptation of these platforms and doing missions isolated in that space. It still is driven by locality, at some physicality in some ways." And she's like, "Well, Daddy, aren't you literally?" She's like, "Daddy, aren't you talking out of both sides of your mouth? Like, is it platforms or is it places? I'm confused." And the wisdom of a child. She called my crap on me. And so we want to start platforms as places. And we're in the process of building one out now. Twitch gaming as a platform, we're recognizing the culture that's involved in that. We're going to start to focus on intentionally building out an outpost within the gaming culture. Really, if we look at digital churches as a whole, the 5 or 6 different categories that exist: the social media churches, the app-based churches, the micro churches, physical churches, or hybrid churches, the micro churches, churches that do on Zoom or things like that. Really, the gamer category is by far the most organized of them all. And Mark Lux with Lux Digital Church, Mark Lutz with Lux Digital Church. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Love Thy Nerd Culture Ministry Summit. Those guys have done an incredible job, and I'm so proud of the work that they've been doing to organize the digital space and to help bring unity among the crowd and the leaders within the Christian gaming culture universe. But that really has highlighted the need for support to come alongside and provide encouragement, to provide empowering, to provide the opportunities to equip, to explore, to experiment, to support emotionally, mentally, physically, tangibly with some of these things. The gaming culture is right now ripe for explosion and for the cause of Christ. And that's one of the things that's one of my goals for early 25 is to build to have an outpost built and that's resourcing within that space and literally planting there. Now there's lots of subcultures within gaming. We can look at the Twitch streamers. We can look at in video games. At some level VR kind of fits within that because VR is part of metaverse and gaming is part of metaverse, but metaverse includes other things, and we can get into the nuances and the languages of all that. But there are so many subcultures, and there's dozens of subcultures within streaming alone, much less the gaming aspects. You got board, tabletop, you got card games, you got video games and the subcultures within video games. It could be here all day long, and so the opportunities to multiply digital missionaries in the gaming space, to impact one of the largest untapped generations, one of the most lost people groups that currently exists is, it's achievable if we had people in the right space. And so even recognizing, hey, you know what, I'm interested in gaming. I could see myself doing that. Come be part of EDM. Or maybe the idea of platforms and places, there's other subgroups there's other subgroups that you might be interested in helping be part of this movement and creating digital missionaries and then equipping and resourcing them long term to do ministry in that space. I'm looking for you. I want to equip the equippers. I want to train the trainers. I want to multiply the multipliers. That's who I want to talk to. And so the people that are interested in doing something to really change the kingdom for Christ digitally, change the world for Christ digitally, for the cause of Christ digitally, get the gospel digital global. Those are the people that I want to do EDM right now. theChurch.digital /EDM. I have no idea what time it is. 33. What time? When I've been talking 30 minutes. That's good. Oceania, I'm excited about that. Man, I'll tell you. I don't know what's going to happen with this. This is a funny story. And this is, I'll know in 12 hours. I'll either be really excited or, man, I don't know. So I'll have to give you an update. But I've got a really big call coming up this evening. So I'm trying to figure out where to start this story. Yeah, let's back up. I get emails from weird people all the time. Now, there's the weird ones theologically. Set that aside. But sometimes it's I get an email from somebody who's hey, I heard your show, interested in doing this. They see the show, the Church Digital, they see the streams, they find me on YouTube, they find us on YouTube, and they see credibility. And so, hey, there's an opportunity to partner. And so I get this email from this person, and the email speaks of this person, Wes Hone, with a very like I should know who this person is, and speaks with them about of this person. It's a marketing, it's a PR person, and it speaks of this person of a very high caliber, A-lister type, influencer type person. And no disrespect if Wes Hone or anybody who knows him is watching this, I get this email and I'm like, I have no idea who this person is. And I do a quick Google of Wes, and I was kind of impressed, and so I sent the email around to some friends that are U.S. based, and I was like, hey, you ever heard of this guy Wes Hone? Anybody know this guy? And nobody here in the U.S. had any idea who this guy was. And finally, I was on a website and got some feedback that the dude was Australian, was from the Oceania area. And so I sent it to my guy down there, Adrian Tam, who we're bringing on, hopefully, to be the outpost leader for Oceania Plus, and said, hey, have you ever heard of this guy, Wes Hone? And he's also the regional director for Faith Tech Australia. So the guy's, Adrian is pretty influential, and we're looking forward to seeing what the merger of Faith Tech and theChurch.digital looks like. That's kind of one of our experiments that I want to work on in early 25 too. And but it was really interesting. Adrian immediately replied back, Jeff, this guy's huge. Jeff, this guy's like the what do you say? He's like the Australian version of Dave Ramsey for like workplace ministry. He's like that level. This guy's like nationally known here in Australia for workplace ministry. And so Adrian and I started like speculating around how can we do something for the Church Digital and Faith Tech with Wes Hone to pull from workplace ministry, get them connected to Faith Tech or to become digital missionaries, and at the same time getting Wes Hone workplace ministry some exposure at a global level through some of our other things. And so we started talking, some partnership opportunities, and reached out through the PR agent and said, hey, we are interested in a conversation. Would love to talk. And so long story short, 10:30 tonight Eastern, 10:30 p.m. I have a meeting with Wes Hone, and Adrian and I have a meeting with Wes Hone to pitch and to talk about webinars and things like that moving forward. And so that's an exciting opportunity potentially to come through. I love the idea of workplace ministry. I love the idea of workplace ministry feeding digital and the marriage of that. Like, I think there's some strength in utilizing digital ministry and digital missions work, marrying that within workplace context as well, so that you're doing digital mission work within your workplace context and using digital tools to reinforce and build relationships outside of the workplace. Like, I think that's golden. And a lot of the ideas of workplace ministry, doing things outside of the four walls of Christ, that really marries well with digital missionary work, which, by the way, bleeds all over Faith Tech. Like, Faith Tech as an immediate connection there. And so, I mean, I'm really praying, and I want to ask you guys, like, I see this as pouring gasoline on the flame of Oceania, EDM, and really opening up a big Oceania arm of the Church Digital, getting massive exposure towards that. And so I'm going to ask you all who's watching this, pray for that tonight, as we're looking to really do something significant here in reaching these people digitally, and maybe starting to spread some new ideas here on Oceania and beyond. I'll give you an update. I'll put something in. I'll record a quick video in EDM as we get closer to that. In the communities, when we get closer to that. And then what else did I want to talk about? Oh, South America. What's today? Tuesday? Yeah, today's Tuesday. That conversation is. I've got one of those conversations Thursday, and one of those conversations the week after. I'll be. Dang it, I may have just double booked. I'm not going to worry about that now. stay focused on the stream. But I put two and two together in my head, and I think I've got two meetings on the same time. But I've got a meeting coming up with a church that's already active and is already doing a great job of connecting. It's a physical church. This is the dream story. It's a medium-sized church that's doing a great job connecting with people physically and digitally, but they're physically locked in, and so they're needing to build more community in digital because they have no ability to build out more physical. Like the price of where they are, the cost of building in that space is negligible. It's impossible. And so it's more than negligible, it's massive. And so like there is no expansion. So the connection to community, but they already have, and they're already engaging in digital community. They've already got micro locations and watch parties scattered across literal planet. Multiple continents are watching and engaging with this church. This is a phenomenal story. Connection to community. A physical church is doing digital connection and digital community to the point of people gathering physically in micro locations and watch parties. But they don't understand, the church is struggling to really grasp the idea of digital discipleship and then equipping and mobilization. They haven't, the rest of the formula. Really community needs to get built out at the discipleship level, and then the rest of the funnel needs to get built. And I've got a meeting with them coming up this next week, I think, to start to wrestle with the idea of partnering with the Church Digital and starting to develop out that plan, the plan of building out that funnel, and then maybe starting to look at that being the place where we build out the Church Digital from. Like this network becomes the sending ground for the Church Digital outpost in South America. There's been some interesting, I actually would love feedback on this from somebody. What would it look like to, it's funny, I just saw a comment, flat cap. Pastor Alina does VR Church, Pastor Coco in Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, Pastor Alina was the name I was trying to pull. Thank you, Flat Cap, for that. It's I knew it was something, and I couldn't. I forget what I said, and it wasn't Alice, but it was something like Alice, and I couldn't get there. But so thank you for that. I've been wrestling with this idea of churches becoming outposts. It's interesting. This is a controversial idea. The question would be, would a church find purpose behind equipping and empowering digital missionaries to either go out and be the light of Christ within those missionary circle of influence, or even start to provide resources and help for other digital churches? Like, for example, let's take Pastor Coco. Pastor Coco needs help. Well, let's take my church, Reality Church in Miami, Florida, my physical church. Clearwater Creek Church sent a missionary team down to come and spend a week to resource and help our church. That happened. And so they recruited people to come down and spend a week. One church cares for another church, and the missions team built up people to do that sin. What would it look like for a church to build out and equip a team of digital missionaries to either be the light of Christ, to draw attention and to pull into what that church is doing, or to be a resource to send over to connect with other digital churches, like what Alina is doing and what Pastor Coco is doing in Final Fantasy, or VR Chat, or VR Church, in VR Chat, or gamer churches like what Lux is doing, or to work alongside. Like, could the Church Digital become a conduit to train and equip people that could then resource digital churches and digital missionaries that are within our network? That is, to me, the biggest question I've got coming into 25. Can we find 25 churches that can buy into the vision of the Church Digital? Could I, in the year 2025, find 25 churches that would dedicate themselves to becoming outposts? That's the conversation I'm having Thursday. I've got a missions pastor that I'm meeting with, and that's the pitch. Hey, all the time we see that churches, physical churches, would send mission teams to go help other churches. Like that's a common thing. What if we, the Church Digital, could train your people to be digital missionaries? Pastorally, we can even care for them. We can consider them part of our missions, or we can equip you to do that. If someone in your team wants to, we can recruit and develop a volunteer to lead and develop that team moving forward. But would 25 churches sign off on us being missions, sign off on developing a digital missions team to either be the light of Christ or to be used as a resource to be the light of Christ within other digital churches? That's the prayer request. I don't know. I would love your take. As you're watching this video on demand, I know we've got some people in chat too. What's your response to that? Do you think 25 churches would buy into digital missionary work to the point of recruiting volunteers and producing a team of digital missionaries within the church organization? Let me know. Text me 484-324-8724 or hit me up on the accounts or chat. Just put it into... Actually, most of this is on YouTube. YouTube chat's going to be fun. All right. Man, there's so much going on. Donor pushes, EDM coming up. I didn't even talk about the course after EDM. We're trying to get final rights right now, but we want to get into EDM. We want to create a course in a cohort based off of Sharing Jesus Online, the book that Dr. John and I wrote together. It's just so many opportunities right now. I am thankful for you and the others that own the vision and the mission of the Church Digital. I'm thankful for those that contribute financially to this. I'm thankful for those of you that put man hours and support and woman hours and support into making this happen. I'm thankful for those of you who are praying for us. I'm thankful for those of you that may not even understand what we're doing, but are excited about the idea of doing something different to reach someone different. And it's all of you contributing to this vision that helps us get to where we are today, and it's what's going to take it to the next level. And so continue to pray for this moving forward. I was looking at the calendar. I've probably got 1 or 2 streams left in 25. Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are coming up, of course, on Tuesdays, so may have to shift it to other days. Next week, maybe my last week. I'll really have to look at it. But we've got some updates, I think, coming up, and it would be great to keep you all in the loop on what's coming on. So stay tuned, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you later. You all have a good one. Thanks for watching here there's a finish button. Thanks for watching here with the stream on the Church Digital. You all have a good one.